friend there. She belongs to history department, and I belong to Indian philosophy department. So we happily stayed together for 6 months, and we had a fight. And we separated. And then whenever I go to the university, she is still there. So I thought my source of suffering is her. I should go somewhere I cannot see. So in Korea, we have to have a compulsory military service. So I go to the military camp for 2 years, serve, my duty as a Korean man. And then when coming back, she is still there as a graduate student, but miraculously, I have no pain while I saw her, because while I was in the military camp, I don't know, but my attachment to her disappears. So there is no more attachment. I do not have to suffer, even though I saw her. So you can see here the difference between the two. Everyone thought we are very sad because we have no money, We always blame outside. But the source of our suffering not belongs to the outside, but inside of us, If we control our attachment, if we control our defilement, we are no longer suffer. So there is no more attachment inside of us, according to the Buddhism. That's the nirvana. Nirvana, with the remainder of your body, and finally your body disappear. Nirvana without remainder of of aggregate, something like that. So the Buddhism, as far as I'm concerned, is the inside of how we can control inside of us. It's more important compared with the Jainism, where our physical action is more important. A key for his assurance or confirmation of his definite salvation, release from all suffering during his life before his final death, seems to lie on mental aspect inside of him. If one can have a firm grip or control of his mind to overcome all existing attachment while not producing any additional attachment, it could be already enough. So that's the Arahant or Buddha's, enlightenment or awakening. So in the early canon, a wise noble disciple is losing interest in the body, feeling, perception, and so on. Being without interest, his lust fade away. With the fading of the lust, his heart is liberated. So one by one, if we lose any interest in any object, we can get it in the world. We are step by step free from the attachment toward them inside. If there is no more things left to be attached, that's the liberation, according to the Buddhism. Gradually, the subjective meaning of upadhi seems to have become more and more widespread with the development of monastic Buddhism, while objective meaning of upadhi become forgotten. So here, Anagamin and Aran, as I already said to you, occur already in the Abhidhamma tradition. But the Pali exegetical tradition, it clearly mentions Saupadhisesa Nirvana as Klesha Parinirvana, Anupadhisesa Nirvana, Kanda Nirvana, Kanda Parinirvana. It clearly mentioned. They choose the objective meaning of the word Upadhi, not the subjective meaning of the Upadhi. We can clearly see. So the two Nirvana in the life of the Buddha, Saupadhisesa Nirvana, can be assurance or confirmation of his definite salvation or release from all suffering during his life. Anupadhisesa Nirvana, final departure with such firm, steadfast assurance or confirmation. I think that's my conclusion, my own conclusion. So, figuratively speaking, this is the wheel, potter's wheel, just spinning. So when we stop putting the electricity there is no more power to make it turn. But even then, it continued to turn because of the momentum, spinning around. So when we cut the power, that's the Sa Upadisesa Nibbana. And finally, the portals will stop. That's the Anupadisesa Nirvana. In the early canon, the state of Nirvana without a reminder of clinging was often explained through the image of fire extinguished. What is the extinguished in this final moment could be being composed of 5 aggregates who realize Nirvana. But this one, I always say to you, I just skip that. The problem of existence or non-existence, I just skip that. And this is the issue. When could be the time those two-step liberation were formulated? What kind of event we can think of in relation to the life story of the Buddha? So when could be the time the Buddha actually think about this kind of two nirvanas and why? And we all know the Buddha was born in Nepal, here, I think, this area. Oh, no. Maybe this area. And then he going post, he went post, and he going down through the Patna and Rajagriha. So during that time, he did a meditation under the teaching of Allara Lama and Upakarama Buddha, and he was not satisfied with that. And then he continued to move there, from there to Bodh Gaya. And the Bodh Gaya is the area where so many giants live there. So if you go to Bodh Gaya nowadays, there are so many giant temples. It's a pool of giant temples. So this is the Bodh Gaya area where you can have a Mahabodhi Stupa. And we have in the middle between the two, what is it? Sujata Stupa. And we also have a mountain on the other side. And one day I was near the bridge. I have a chance to use my drone to make a film about it. So I just want to show you this one. Small one. So this is the Bodh Gaya area. Can you see the moving of the I hope you can see there. So I use my drone going up from that bridge area toward the Mahabodhi Temple. You can see here, this one is River Neranjara, and we can keep approaching there. Around here is the place where we have a Mahabodhi Temple. Here, sorry. Okay. So here is a Mahabodhi Temple. So you can see there, the river was there. Going upward to the river, you can see the Mahabodhi Temple. So the tree behind there, the Buddha was sitting, become enlightened. But on the other side, when we checked it, this one is a Sujata Stupa in the middle between the two rivers, in the Neranjara rivers, as I show you the map. So this is Sujata Stupa, you can see there. From this side to the Bodhi tree, but the other side, this one. So the other side you can see there, from there, this one. This one, we usually call it as the mountain where the Buddha did asceticism according to the Tibetan tradition. But there is an area between this Sujata Stupa and an area, there are a forest. So according to the East Asian tradition, the Buddha did 6 year asceticism in the forest ascetic forest. So ascetic forest might be in between this mountain and this Sujata Stupa. So I just show you briefly. No time to. People. So the first one I show you. From there, I was moving there. Second one, I just show this one, So I think somewhere here, or that mountain, the Buddha did 6 year. Asceticism, So 6 year asceticism he did either maybe 1 year in the mountain and maybe 1 year in the forest. Oh, I'm not sure. He's going back and going up and down, something like that. I think. And during the period of asceticism, I think Buddha followed Jain principles. So he actually tried to be die while doing ascetic practice. So in Majjhima Nikaya, when we checked it, the Buddha ate just 1 grain a day. So he was always almost dying, The Buddha actually said, I was almost dying, the Buddha said. But he thought if he was dying like that, he just died without achieving anything. So he changed his mind, and then have a bath. I think the Buddha have a bath here in the Neranjara River. Maybe moving to this area, a kind of island between the two rivers, where the Buddha met Sujata, the nice Indian lady Sujata. I think the Buddha met somewhere there. If we follow. This is the Sujata Stupa. I don't know whether this belongs to Sujata, the place or I don't know. But if you go there, there is another Sujata temple where Indian people believe that's the place where Sujata offered the meal. Sujata offered the meal. And they also have this kind of map. I'm not sure. We have many carvings. This is Borobudur in Indonesia, where Sujata offered the meal to the Buddha, and so on. I think this is the moment the Buddha first think about 2-step nirvanas. Because before then, if the Buddha follow mainstream, ascetic tradition like Jainism, he thought I can achieve nirvana when I die. But he tried his best for 6 years, but he cannot get anything. So just before he just passed away, he thought, if I dying like that, I haven't achieved anything. Just dying. So this is useless. So he changed his life. And then he was just sitting in under the Bodhi tree. And then Sujata appeared and offered the meal, and Buddha accepted. So accepting the meal means I am going to follow another way, which means I will achieve nirvana while I am alive. But this one should match with his final step. So I think this could be the moment when the Buddha accepts Sujata's meal. That's the moment the Buddha first think about 2-step nirvanas, not just nirvana at death. So after accepting the meal, this one I like, Dwaravati Shima, when the Buddha approaching to the Bodhi tree, Sotia offered kusha, and the Buddha accepted. It's a beautiful one. This is one of my favorite. I like Mon pace. And the Buddha continued to go there and sitting, and he achieved awakening or enlightenment there. So I believe that's the moment when the Buddha actually think over 2-step nirvanas. So Sujata and the Buddha there, And another question we usually have is how Sujata knew the Buddha was there and she actually go. And my explanation from some of the Tibetan tradition as well, we usually said Sujata was the daughter of a very rich family in that island between the two rivers near the Bodhi tree. And she has got tree worship, tree worship. So usually when she go there, under the tree was empty. But the Buddha, luckily, having the bus approaching to the tree, the Buddha, by chance, sitting under the tree where Sujata usually offered the meal. So the Sujata thought the Buddha was a tree spirit. She usually offered the food, and today was special. Tree spirit, appeared as a human form, so she actually offered the meal. So I think that might be the answer. That might be the answer. I'm not sure. This is a nice mural painting in Kongharam, and this is a nice mural painting from the Honguksa Temple in South Korea, where the Buddha had a nice, bath before accepting the meal from Sujata here. I think I skipped it. So accepting Sujata's meal means giving up asceticism, and then starting point of his awakening in different ways, which means middle path. So after the awakening, when the Buddha go to the Panchabakkya Bhikkhu, the Buddha actually said, Mahajima Patipada, middle path, you should follow. What could be the extreme? One extreme, Hershey asceticism. The other extreme, secular, worldly life. If you would like to have achieve an awakening, you should go in the middle, in between the two. The Buddha actually said that's the new starting point of Buddhism. So the Buddha, remember, during the time of the plowing festival, he had a very nice meditation. We usually call it as a post meditation in Buddhism. So he just remember and he achieved, nirvana. So I think that's the moment when the Buddha actually think about two-step nirvana, accepting the Sujata's meal. In between his awakening, he thought, karma is not the real action. If we have a firm control over our mentality or our mind, we can actually control our life after death, something like that. I think that's the moment the Buddha think about two-step nirvanas. So maybe around 10 minutes, I will show you various representations of the Buddha. This is the Kushinagara, where we have a Buddha statue there. And this statue was actually mentioned by Suenjang. He visited Kushinagara around 610 or 20. He already mentioned this Nirvana statue in Kushinagara. So among the most important one, I have to say. But we also have a very important one in Sri Lanka, in Gaal Biara in Polonnaruwa, where Ananda become very sad. Next to the Ananda, we have the Buddha, finally Nirvana, finally going up. Buddha achieved Nirvana there in Gaal Biara. I like this place, very, very peaceful, without having any suffering, attachment, and defilement. Looks very peaceful. But my favorite one is in Thailand, where is it? In Bangkok, in what is it? It's the area of backpackers. I can't remember. This is Wat Borowan, Wat Borom, Wat Borowani Viharan. What's the name of this area? I can't remember. This is the Wat Borom. very nice Buddha statue there. But in the behind of the main vihara, next to this, huge stupa, there is a small chamber dedicated to the nirvana of the Buddha. This one, I think this nirvana statue may be from Sukhothai, but the painting behind there is very nice. It's perfectly done according to the Ratna Koshin style. And I think this temple is very important for Lama the Fourth and Lama the Fifth, Chulalongkorn and Mongkut, King Mongkut. I think they make it beautifully with this Nirvana statue, with the mural painting behind there, monks surrounding the Buddha and maybe Ananda or something. And heavenly beings going down there from everywhere, heavenly beings, you can see. And all the people from Mallas, Kushinagara, going there, and they all, with their hands, what was it? Udambara, the beautiful flower, they all took it. They even have a Chinese-styled, ceremony object as well for the Buddha. Many different kind of people there. So if you visit Bangkok, I really recommend to go to this chamber of enlightenment in that Wat Borowani we are. This is an excellent one. Whenever I go to Bangkok, I usually go there and take photo and sitting there for some hour and thinking about Nirvana. That's the perfect place. This is Korean one. The Buddha passed away. Everyone crying, and then people put the body of the Buddha in the iron coffin for 2 weeks, and then finally Kashyapa appeared, and the Buddha is ready to cremate it, and this is cremation. And when they cremated, Shariraka of the Buddha going down like a rain. You can see here. The Buddha passed away. Buddha's mother coming down from the 33 heaven, offering the flower, Udambara flower, and the Kashyapa appear, and they do cremate, and Shariraka of the Buddha just coming down, like a rain. This is East Asian interpretation of the Buddha. And when I visit Lumbini, I visit many Western-styled temple. This is the Austrian one. But I like this German temple in Lumbini, where they follow Tibetan, I think Geruk tradition they follow, maybe Karma Kagyu, I'm not sure. But inside this temple, beautiful, mural paintings. You should visit there, and you can see the Tibetan representation of the Buddha. The Buddha passed away, everyone crying, and her mother coming down from the heaven and put the flower there. This is cremation. This is cremation. And then this is the Shariraka, 8 portion of Shariraka distributed to the area. And another one I really like about the Nirvana is from Dunhuang in China, because during the time when I visit Dunhuang, I have many problems in Dongguk University and I suffer a lot. So I had Adhisthana, the Buddha, you should help me. And then I took many photos of the Nirvana statue in Dunhuang. And this one, and then miraculously, the Buddha actually gave me the wink, in this photo, because of the dust over here. It looked like the Buddha, one eye of the Buddha just closed, the other one very bright. So when I saw this photo, this is a miracle. The Buddha actually gave me the wink. After that, everything, become very peaceful, and I become energetic again. So this is the nirvana of the Buddha. Actually, give me the power to overcome all the problem in Dongguk University. So I hope you all have this kind of experience when you think about the nirvana. I hope you all be free from all kind of internal attachment and defilement, and be like the Buddha if you are following this kind of a two-step nirvana. Thank you very much. And I'm going to take questions.
Okay, would you all please speak up and direct your questions to Dr. Wong?
So, good morning, Achan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my question is about like Nibbana. Like in Buddhism, we say all the Dhamma, Sabbe Dhamma Anatta. It means all the Dhamma is emptiness. So, I would like to know the Nibbana is Dham. If the Nibbana is Dhamma, is the Nibbana is so that the Nibbana is emptiness or permanent or impermanent?
Nirvana, we can say sa upadisesa nibbana dhatu, unupadisesa nibbana dhatu. We call it as a dhatu, not the Dhamma. If you check Sarvastivada list of dharmas, 75 dharmas, nirvana was not there. How about the Pali tradition? 82 dharmas in Pali tradition. Are there nirvana inside there? No. Samskrita you can actually see, but there is no such dhamma called nirvana, mainly because nirvana in the early text, as I continue to say to you, is explained in a metaphor, not a clear definition. So without clear definition, Buddhists cannot take it as something existing, like Dhamma, 75 Dhamma or 82 Dhammas in Theravada. They can't do it. So Nirvana cannot be the Dhamma. Nirvana is the state we are pursuing. So whether it is existence or non-existent is according to your own, your own goals, your own decision. Because the Buddha talk of himself as a Tathagata. Tathagata means I will be gone like that. So even the Buddha didn't know. So it depends on you whether you accept it as existence or non-existence. I think it depends on you. So it depends on the various Buddhist tradition. They choose either existence and non-existence. It's a long history. Okay.
Professor. I prepared a question a few days ago, but you answered it during your lecture. So I have an emergency backup question, if that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Some time ago, I read that in early Indian philosophy, they regarded that when a fire goes out, whether extinguished or runs out of fuel, that nothing is annihilated, but that the fire is instead unbound and released and kind of fades into the background of the universe, but nothing is annihilated. In your studies of early Indian philosophy, does that sound right?
It's a Upanishadic tradition. When they explain Atman, or when they explain Brahmans, we cannot see. Atman, we cannot see. So they explain Atman is something working behind there. Atman is something working together with the absolute. Atman is something, how can I say? In the other side, we are living in a phenomenal world. Everything continues to change, but Atman is not changing. So in order to explain that, in many early Upanishads, we can see the statement where phenomenal fire disappear. And then that phenomenal fire going back to the origin or going back to the absolute. And then phenomenal fire reappear again, This kind of explanation I saw a lot in the Upanishad. I'm not sure about the Brahmanas or Aranyakas, but I can say to you that Brihada Aranyaka Upanishad or Chandogya Upanishad, you can see that kind of explanation. So the Buddha using fire, according to my supervisor, Gombrich, it's very interesting because, in Buddhism, we should seize the triple fire of raga, fire of dosa, and fire of moha. So passion, hatred, and delusion, we should put up, we should cease in order to be free from all the attachment and defilement. And my supervisor always said to that, in Brahmin tradition, Hindus, they have triple fires. Fire for the God, fire for the family, ancestors, and fire for the teachers. They should keep triple fires. So for Brahmins, keeping the fire is the most important thing. So one way the Buddha used to teach is using Brahmin terms and reinterpreted it in the Buddhist way and explained. So the Buddha used the fire for Brahmin so important, like Atman, something like that. And then Buddha put it there as, raga, dosa, among the worst thing, which makes us keep reborn again and again, and explain that the fire, you should, remove it. So Mahabodhi or Vinaya, when you think about that, before the Buddha going back to the Uruvela, he was alone. And then he, step by step, persuade the 1,000 meditators on the three brothers of Kashyapa, Uruvela Kashyapa, I think Gaya Kashyapa and Nadi Kashyapa, and all 1,000 people following three brothers become disciple of the Buddha. And then the Buddha moving from Uruvela to the Gaya area, where the Gaya Shisha, the Buddha gave a teaching. And the Buddha says, everything is on the fire. Human beings being on the fire. And the fire with the passion, hatred, and delusion. In order to become free from that kind of worst attachment and defilement, you should put up, putting away there. So the Kashyapa brothers, according to the Mahabodhi of the Vinaya, they are fire worshippers, fire worshippers. They try to keep fire. So for them, fire is among the most important thing they should keep. But according to the Buddha's new interpretation, fire, we should remove it, So totally different way of dealing with the fire is actually going on in between Brahmanical thinking and the Buddhist thinking, I think.
I'd especially like to ask any bhikkhunis who are out there and quiet if they would like to ask a question. As this class consists of monks, nuns, lay persons, I think it is appropriate for me to mention this fact. Mm-hmm. Be shy if you want to speak up. If you want to remain silent, remain silent. Any bhikkhunis out there want to raise a question? Please speak up.
Okay, good morning, Ajahn and Professor.
Venerable John, please go ahead.
Yes, I don't want to remain in noble silence. Okay, actually, if we say that from the Mahayana perspective, we said that Nibbana and Samsara is the same thing. So if you believe that there is a samsara, there is a suffering, that is just an illusion. So if one said like that, if I say, okay, I don't care, I don't want to practice to attain the Nibbana because I am in the samsara, also I'm already in the Nibbana. So I will not care about anything. I don't want to practice to achieve Nibbana. So because it's the same thing. So how do you think about this kind of person?
Good question. That kind of explanation appear in Madhyamika Karika by Nagarjuna, and they use a special way to deal with the problem. Just denying it. It's very similar to the Vatsiputriya in the early canon or Buddhagalabhada, because Buddhagalabhada usually said there is a Buddhagala. They cannot say Atman apart from 5 aggregates. So people asked about it. What is the Buddhagala? Can you define it? And they usually said, Buddhagala is neither the same nor different from Panchaskanda. Neither different nor the same. Similar way going on when Nagarjuna talk about nirvana, he cannot define it. So he said, the world we are living in, the samsara, is the nirvana. And nirvana also is the samsara. He just used the same word again and again and again. I actually saw a lot. So when I first came back to Korea, I teach early Buddhism to Mahayana monk in Korea, mainly. And I asked them, what do you think about nirvana? Can you explain it? And most of them said to me that samsara is nirvana, nirvana is samsara. So I saw a lot, and that is exactly why Louis de la Palais-Poussin said that academic approach to nirvana is totally different from practical approach by Buddhist monks and nuns. Their aim is to reach there. So whether it is neither samsara nor nirvana, or the same or different, not important. They just reach there. But for the scholar, in order to define it, it is very difficult. So this kind of thing, I saw a lot, but it cannot give a clear answer. It cannot give a clear answer from the modern standard. For the practical purpose, it's okay. But academic purpose, this is not actually correct. So there are so many, exegetical explanation. I can't deal with it at the moment, but it's an interesting area you can actually look at,
I'd like to recognize the presence of medical doctor Twenjaya Klunsupa, who is working on her second doctorate here at IBSC. Her dissertation concerns the fetters. She made a question. I'm not sure if she can hear me, but if she does hear me, she is invited to ask anything.
You mean the 10 petals? 10 petals. Samyojana.
Dr. Twenjaya, do you hear? Would you like to ask a question? Oh, there you are. Good.
It's a mic is mute.
Please unmute your mic.
Mic. Yeah.
There you
Hello.
are.
Hear me? Yeah. Thank you for your work. I follow your work step by step. It's just because now I work with my dissertation entitled Escape from State of Loss and Suffering. So this is valuable for me to realize about Nibbana that you present today. Thank you so much for sharing us the knowledge. Thank you.
I hope my book can help you to finish your session.
Yeah. I have received my book from Professor Dr. Frank. Thank you so much. It's valuable for us to disseminate Buddhism around the world. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for speaking up, Dr. Twenjaya. And now I open the mic to anyone who wants to ask something. Thank you very much.
Okay, Ajahn, I would like to ask some questions that I have.
Okay.
Okay. Earlier I saw you showing us some picture of the Buddha and the painting. I would like to know if you come across any picture that interpret Nibbana country, and each culture interpret Nibbana is quite different. And then you show us the picture in the temple in Thailand, and then there is picture in the temple of different country in Tibetan. So can you explain to us the difference between them?
One of my hobby is taking photo. Wherever I go, I take a photo. So I usually have a collection of Buddha statue depicting his enlightenment and depicting his nirvana. I usually take photo. So I can see Tibetan tradition, East Asian tradition, and Southern Buddhist tradition has got different approach toward the nirvana. When I saw the mural painting and when I saw the statue and so on. So one of the main things I can see from there, as I show you the Wat Borowani Viharan, I show you the Nirvana chamber, Nirvana Buddha, and compared with Don Huang or some of the Chinese one, I can see Sri Lankan one as well. I can see, how can I say? From the Mahayana Buddhist perspective, Nirvana is not just the two. We have three Nirvanas or sometimes four Nirvanas. So the Buddha appeared in Southern Buddhist tradition when the Buddha reached the Nirvana. His face really peaceful. And I can feel, if you go to Ajanta, if you go to the Gaal Vihara in Sri Lanka, peaceful representation of the Buddha. So when I saw the Nirvana statue in Southern Buddhist tradition, the Buddha reached the goal and he achieved the place where there is no more suffering. By achieving Nirvana, I can get it. But whenever I saw Nirvana Buddha in East Asian tradition, it is different. The face of the Buddha look like a benevolent, mainly because according to the East Asian Buddhist tradition, we have one more nirvanas. Saupadhisesa nirvana, Anupadhisesa nirvana, and another one, I can't remember the term, but this is a nirvana for the bodhisattvas. So they reach the nirvana, but just put it there, coming back to the human world and helping people, achieving nirvana together. It's a kind of a Mahayana ideas. So nirvana statue I saw in East Asia, his face looks benevolent. I will help you. I will going back and help you. That sort of expression I can see from his mouth, smiling actually. I will go down there. I will help you. That sort of thing I can actually feel. So you remember that the Wink Buddha, Nirvana Buddha in Donang, one of my favorite. That one, if you saw, actually totally different from the one you can see in the, how can I say, have I done it? This one. You can see here, this is Nirvana of the Buddha. The face looks different, from the Gaal Vihara one or Ajanta one. It looks as if he is coming back. I will help you. It's a smiling face, and I will coming back. That sort of thing you can actually get it. But this kind of a feeling you cannot get from this one, Gaal Vihara one. Buddha was totally peaceful. The end of the story, total annihilation. I'm not sure about this. This one, my favorite. Buddha here. His face. I'm not sure whether he is ready to coming back to the human world. I think you should go there. Wat Borowani Viharan in that area, you can actually feel it. So I think there are differences, but usually doctrinal explanation, doctrinal interpretation will affect the representation of the Buddha in East Asia, Southeast Asia, and India. So the pace of the Buddha, when you check very carefully, you can get, that kind of a doctrinal difference between different traditions, I think.
Okay, thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, Professor.
Any other students would like to speak up? Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, professors. Firstly, I would like to introduce Annyeonghaseyo Sangsanya. Vanessa Phangasamida.
Good Korean.
Yes, no, your example is very interesting, is very clear. Because of our Buddhist peoples, our goal is finally we want to attain Nibbana. So this topic is very important for our Buddhist people. We need to know what is a Nibbana. How many kinds of Nibbana? Yeah. So we need to know now because your knowledge are very clear. So when I was childhood, I'm interested in Nibbana. In front of it, Buddha image, we attain Nibbana. In this time, I'm interested. What is Nibbana? Very fast or near? I asked my grandmother. In this time, they cannot explain. Oh, Nibbana is Nibbana. they answer. So now I study Buddha Dhammas. I already know Buddha Dhammas. Now today your example is very clear. We already understand our right side of views Nibbana. Sa-upadisesa Nibbana and Anupadisesa Nibbana. Sa-upadisesa Nibbana means Sotapatti Magga, Sakaragami Magga, Anagami Magga. We already got Sa-upadisesa Nibbana because we had Maya Metta. Maya Metta, so Anupadisesa Nibbana means all are disappears, all are close Maya Metta, not to be began born Maya Metta. This is Anupadisesa Nibbana. Upadisesa Nibbana means we already close attachment. We already close lower dosa moha. But we had we can be born Maya Metta. So that's why Sa-upadisesa Nibbana, God's person is Sotapatti Magga, Sakaragami Magga, Anagami Magga. So and then Anupadisesa Nibbana Arahanta. I know this way in our Theravada point of views. Thank you so much, Professor.
So I have a friend who teaches Buddhism in Oslo University in Norway, Torkel Brekke, and he actually look at Pali Vinaya very seriously and very closely. And one day he said to me that Pali Vinaya, there are so many rules, and all the rules are aiming at removing all of our raga, dosa, moha. So, Vinaya is aiming at monks removing all the dosa, raga and moha, passion and hatred and delusion. That's the central theme of all the rules when he actually look at is from his point of view. So removing our defilement, removing our attachment is the key for all the Buddhists to achieve our goal, Nirvana, I think. That's very clear according to the Vinayas and according to the Suttas. The only problem is that there is no clear definition of nirvana. That's the problem.
As the time is getting short, I want to ask my one question for Professor. I greatly appreciate your time and your care in talking to students, each one who wanted to ask something. My comment and a question. Comment is, before going to London to do my doctorate, I was able to study with several Asian scholars for a period of 6 years at the master's level. And so I studied with more than one Buddhist scholar, very well known, Kalupahana, published books. But the person I want to pinpoint now is Kathinash Upadhyaya, who is and also studied Buddhism. In his book, Early Buddhism and the Bhagavad Gita, he puts out a particular text that he loves. And I just quote from memory, so it may not be precise enough, but this is the Nibbana, the uncreated, the not born, the fixed, the stable, the dense. And of course, he, being a Brahmin, wonders about the interpretation of the deathless. I would like to ask if you have any comment about amata. I myself offered a philosophical interpretation, not a philological one, in my dissertation book. I'd be glad to hear you talk about that famous passage. Thank you.
To answer the question, we need to have another 2-hour session. I think.
Sorry. Good to cup.
But maybe I just want to tell you very briefly. When I checked the Hindu tradition, I was quite surprised when I read the Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita actually talk about nirvana. It also talk about Jivan Mukti. So some of Indian friend like S.R. Bhatt or some of the Indian, my friend actually said to me that Buddhism actually copy Hindu idea. You know? So I said to them, no. Bhagavad Gita quite late than Buddhist thought, and but you know, India, when you think about it, everything occur from the Vedas. You know, they have a fixed idea on that. So whenever I talk with the Brahmins or Hindu scholars, I always have a problem because they always talk about something in Indian tradition. They try to explain starting from Rig Vedas. You know? So they always do that. But maybe I can show you. I have this one. I have a whiteboard here. Can you see my whiteboard? Can you see that?
Yes.
So
I can't see.
You can see.
I can't see anything.
Yes.
No, I can't see
Next
anything.
to the picture.
You
Yes,
can see?
here it is.
Now you can see?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can see now.
Okay, thank you. So this is India. I will do it very briefly. Sorry. So this is India. Another good painting. But you know, Buddhism started here, northeastern part called Bihar. But Aryans who wrote Rig Veda or Brahmana or Aranyaka and Upanishad, they are entering into the India from the northeastern side, and the area of Brahmanism is central. It's Delhi or Agra, Jaipur area. So there is a gap between the two, actually. So, and step by step, Brahmins expand from there and finally dominate whole the Indian subcontinent. But when we think about the time of the Buddha, around 400, 500 before Common Era, 4 to 500 before Common Era. I have to say, Brahmins cannot be that strong in northeastern area. Maybe they are very stronger there, but not in the Bihar area. We can clearly see the first king of the Maurya after the Buddha, Chandragupta, Jain Pallava. Bindusara, the father of the king Ashoka, Ajivikas. And the king Ashoka, Buddhist. So this area of Bihar is quite different from Vedic tradition. This is not just my word, it's actually very academically argued by Johannes Bronkhorst on his book Greater Magadha. He actually said the Brahmins not strong during the time of the Buddhism. So I don't like Indian attitude, always explaining things from the Vedic tradition. But that's their way of dealing with it, So there are many explanations. So they usually said from Rig Veda to Buddhism. So Buddhism is a kind of a religion against the caste system. Many people argue about that. But I think during the time of the Buddha, caste system is not stronger in the area of the Buddhism in the Bihar area. So no, I don't think so. Something like that. And also meditation, I'm not sure whether it is from a Brahmin tradition to Buddhism. I'm not sure. This one also I'm not sure. So we nowadays think of Buddhism started not from the Vedic tradition, but from the new religious movement in Bihar area. In Buddhist text, we get the 6 heretic teachings: Jainism, Ajivika, Charvaka, and Sanjaya, and so on. I think those are the background of the Buddhism. There is no Brahmanism there. So, Professor Hoffman, I don't know whether I answer your question or not, but I don't want to talk about Buddhism under Brahmanism. Brahmanism, as far as I'm concerned, not the origin of Buddhism.
I agree entirely. And you've just displayed how, from your wide erudition, you can talk about anything someone asks you.
Thank you
from the
much.
Hindu camp. Thank you for being with us today. I have a 5-minute break. Could we all unmute your mic and thank the professor for coming and giving us 2 wonderful lectures.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
So, Doctor, I'm going.
Okay. Bye. Have a
Thank you very
wonderful
much.
day.
รู้ขับประมาณก็คือในความสมถะวางตัวสุขสมถะดูแล้วน่าเคร่งน่าเชื่อถือก็เกิดความเลื่อมใสศรัทธาแล้วก็ธรรมะประมาณก็คือธรรมะเมสเสจเนื้อหาที่อธิบายถูกใจหรือปฏิบัติตามที่สอนด้วยในสมัยพระเจ้าคนเลื่อมใสศรัทธา